hold a fully ripe persimmon in your hand. The skin is so thin it is almost translucent. The flesh inside is glowing orange-red, soft enough to scoop with a spoon. And when you cut it open, the interior looks more like a glass of sunset-colored jelly than a piece of fruit. There is no other fruit in the produce aisle that ripens like this. An unripe persimmon is firm, astringent, and will pucker your mouth so violently you will not want to eat fruit again for a week. A fully ripe persimmon is silken, intensely sweet, and one of the most concentrated sources of carotenoids in the temperate fruit kingdom. In the next 7 minutes, we are going to take it apart and find vitamin A, vitamin C, soluble fiber, manganese, 2 distinct families of polyphenols, and one of the most extreme biochemical transformations any fruit undergoes as it ripens. This is not just a fruit. This is a controlled chemical reaction in slow motion.
Here is the strangest thing about persimmons. An unripe, astringent persimmon, particularly the Hachiya variety, contains some of the highest concentrations of soluble tannins of any fruit on Earth. These are proanthocyanidins, a class of polyphenols, and in their soluble form, they bind to the proteins in your saliva and on the surface of your tongue. That is why a single bite of an unripe persimmon produces a uniquely brutal astringency. Your mouth literally feels stripped of moisture. As the fruit ripens, the tannins polymerize. They link together into larger molecules that are no longer soluble. The chemical composition has not changed dramatically. The molecular structure has. The same tannins that made the fruit inedible are now bound up in long chains that pass through your digestive system without binding to anything. The astringency disappears. The fruit becomes one of the sweetest things in nature. This is a transformation you can taste in real time. A medium persimmon contains about 6 grams of fiber, much of it soluble, pectins and gums that form a gel in the gut. That is unusually high for a fruit of its size. Despite the intense sweetness, the glycemic index of a ripe persimmon is moderate, around 50, and the high fiber content blunts the post-meal glucose response. Studies in adults with insulin resistance have shown that persimmon consumption improves lipid profiles and reduces oxidized LDL, partly because of the fiber, partly because of the polyphenols, and partly because of the carotenoids. The fruit also contains significant manganese, copper, and vitamin C. The combination delivers a sweet experience with a metabolic profile that behaves more like a fiber supplement than a sugar bomb. Even after ripening, persimmons retain a dense load of polyphenols, just in a form that no longer binds to your saliva. Proanthocyanidins, gallic acid, catechins, and chlorogenic acid are all present at meaningful concentrations. The polymerized tannins, now insoluble, behave more like dietary fiber in your gut. They bind cholesterol and bile acids, reducing reabsorption, and they feed certain populations of gut bacteria. Studies have shown that persimmon polyphenols inhibit the oxidation of LDL cholesterol and reduce arterial plaque formation in animal models. There is also emerging evidence that persimmon extract has anti-cancer activity, particularly against colon and breast cancer cell lines. The polyphenols that protect the unripe fruit from being eaten are the same polyphenols that, once tamed by ripening, protect the person who eats it.
The 2 dominant varieties worldwide behave very differently. The Hachiya is acorn-shaped, astringent until completely ripe, and only edible when the flesh is jelly-soft. Eating a firm Hachiya is a memorable mistake. The Fuyu is squat, tomato-shaped, and non-astringent. Its tannins are pre-polymerized at maturity, so it can be eaten firm and crunchy like an apple. Both varieties deliver similar carotenoid loads when fully ripe, but Hachiya has a slightly higher polyphenol concentration and a more intense sweetness when allowed to fully ripen. The American persimmon, Diosporus virginiana, is a different species, smaller, more astringent, and rarely commercially available, but extremely rich in carotenoids and a major food source for North American wildlife. Choose ripe Hachiya for the jelly experience, Fuyu for everyday eating, and you capture the chemistry either way. So what do you actually get when you eat a ripe persimmon? You get over half your daily vitamin A in the form of mixed carotenoids, beta-carotene, beta-cryptoxanthin, lycopene, lutein, zeaxanthin. You get 6 grams of pectin-rich fiber. You get manganese, copper, and vitamin C. You get polymerized tannins that behave like soluble fiber. You get a polyphenol load that protects your blood vessels and feeds your gut bacteria. And you get to watch or taste one of the most extreme ripening transformations in nature. A fruit that was, days earlier, unable to be eaten without immediate regret, has, through nothing but time, rearranged its own chemistry into one of the sweetest, most carotenoid-dense fruits available. Pick it ripe, eat it cold, scoop the jelly with a spoon, open it, reveal it, and eat the transformation.